The Zeta House was not the next to last on Fraternity Row, maybe the second or third to last on the row. And the moment I walked in there, I felt really good, really comfortable. Wasn't a big chapter, wasn't even that big a house. But the guys there had a lot of energy. They had just finished the first ever New Orleans Zeta Psi convention, and these guys were pumped. They had been told how to rush, they had been told what they needed to do, and they were living it, they were breathing it. And I think the 21 pledges they got are still the largest pledge class that Beta Tau ever got. And I walked in there, and I was a kid I was the oldest in my family. I never had big brothers. So I felt something special in there. I felt these could be big brothers to me, something I'd never experienced. And I felt so at home. By the third night, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna join a fraternity, it's gonna be Zeta Psi. Let's meet as many people as you can. Let's make this decision with as much information as you can get, as you can get in that short period of time. And they gave me a bid. I accepted it. I was a little nervous during the pledge ceremony, but pretty much have never looked back. It was a good decision. I got a lot out of Zeta Psi during those 4 active years. I wasn't a guy that held every single office. You could probably joke around and say I probably lost more elections than anybody else in my pledge class. Because I was a brother for all 4 years, and I lost a ton of elections. I ran for a lot of offices, and really the only one I won was Phi. They elected me president. But I learned a lot. I left college, I joined my family business. We are gasoline distributors, and we own gasoline station real estate. I think the most immediate thing I got from the fraternity relating to business was as a landowner. We owned the fraternity house. We were the landlords. Every brother who lived in the house had an individual room contract. Wasn't that different from my leases. So that helped right away. In fact, there were even some things I took from the fraternity leases and used them at work. Over the years, I've been involved in a lot of organizations. I've been president of my men's golf club. I've been on the board of my condo, and I've had the opportunity to sit in many, many meetings run by many different people, and sometimes run by me. And the experience I got, 4 years, weekly meetings in the Beta Tau chapter house, was invaluable. I know how to run a meeting. I know how it should be done, and I've seen people who have no clue. And that's helped incredibly every day since I've graduated. At some point, Greg McElroy asked me to become an alumni advisor for some of the New York City chapters, basically the Cooper Union. And from there, we used to have a program, Regional Advisors. It was a young alumni who would kind of peek in on a couple of chapters that were in an area. And I succeeded the New York City guy, and became the RA for Cooper Union, Columbia, and NYU. They asked me to become the host, the convention chair for the 1997 Double Diamond Jubilee Celebration Convention in New York City. And I think I may have known that in 93 or 94. For that convention, we had a very long lead time. I was a co-chair with 2 other local Zates. I don't know who put in more work or not, but we got it done. I think it was a very successful convention. We did some things that may have been innovative, and it was a great experience. Stressful as all hell. I thought I was having a heart attack at age 34, but it was a great experience. It really was. I've gone on to be on multiple convention committees and co-host the New Orleans 2010 convention. There's something about us convention chairmen, we all swear we'll never do it again, and there's a lot of us who've done it twice. Don't know why. Gluttons for punishment. At the end of the 1997 convention, I was put on the fraternity board of, I think it's the board of directors, and I served 12 years on the board. Did 1 year as the Delta Alpha. I was the communications chairman, and I published the Circle of Zeta Psi for about 2 years. I think I would be the guy that brought us into the digital age. My predecessor did it completely by hand. I was doing it on computer, and instead of mailing files back and forth, we were emailing digital things. We scanned photos. That's when we first started with that. I'm also leaving out, just before the 1997 convention, then Executive Director Andrew Nunez asked me to become the awards chairman, a post that I still hold today. So that's been an honor. I consider myself kind of the steward of the Distinguished Service Award and all of the awards. And it's been great. It's one of those things that sort of keeps me in touch, makes me go out and pay attention to what other Zates are doing in whatever format is available, and try and give recognition to those who deserve it. The last couple of years, I have been organizing a New York City regional alumni club. We meet monthly for dinner, small groups. We've been anywhere from 3 to 16 people. And then twice a year, we hold really big events. In June, we hold a Founders Day black tie optional banquet in honor of the fraternity being founded in New York City. And around Thanksgiving, we do a holiday dinner, much more casual. And both of those get between 80 and 110 people per event. So that's been very rewarding. I went to Tulane University pre-internet days. I used to joke that we were the last outpost of Zeta Psi. We were a long way from anybody. And communicating with any other chapter was, you picked up the phone. I called the guys at UT Austin who were a 10-hour drive away. Today, internet, FaceTime, Facebook, guys who are 1,000 miles away are as close as your phone. Your cell phone, these smartphones that didn't exist. So that's a huge change. The other thing is the laws are different. I went, and I feel for the guys. I feel for the active chapter. We had keg parties. Learning how to tap a keg was a needed skill that you learned in the fraternity. We could do that. The drinking age was 18 when I was a freshman. One of our rush plugs was, well, we all pool our money for the beer. It's cheaper. You can't do that. You have to find different reasons to be in a fraternity. You have to find different ways to get people to come in and different things to do. And I feel for these guys. I think I had it easier. I can tell you this, when you communicate by email and on Facebook, things get lost in translation. Speak to people face to face. There's more respect involved. The other thing is, you're not really having a conversation if you don't listen to the other person. Listen to them. And don't throw out everything somebody with an opposing viewpoint has. There may be some valid points mixed in with things you don't agree with. Pay attention, listen, open your ears, and maybe think before you speak. Diversity may have been one of the things that attracted me to to Zeta Psi. So I went to I grew up and went to a high school in an area that was 99.9% Jewish. Not religious Jewish, American assimilated Jews, but that was it. Everywhere you turned, we were all the same. And even 90% of the people that were there, their families came from the same part of the old world. I show up at Tulane, I show up in the Zeta Psi house, and there are guys from all over the country, from all different backgrounds, and that fascinated me. They were different than me, and I embraced that. And I see it today. You show up at a convention, and we're not just one type of guy that shows up. There's all sorts, and in the diversity, I think there's strength. So I like it.